Yeah, what's happening, guys? What's popping, what's cracking, what's sexy, what's rocking? No, it is, man. It's here. What's the most DjMambo the King? Yes, indeed, guys. We are on another different podcast, another day, another hustle, another issue to discuss. And I'm sure there's some familiar phrases that you guys have interacted with before and some which are unfamiliar. But yes, indeed, welcome to another episode of this podcast hosted by yours truly, DjMambo the King, proudly brought to you by the University of Zimbabwe in collaboration with Unesco, O3+, our rights, our lives, and our future. And us, guys, I wanna introduce the panelists that we have here, and I'll start from my far right, where we have Wendy. You can safely introduce yourself to our viewers out there.
Okay, I'm Wendy Siwela.
Wendy, that's Wendy Siwela. And to my near right, I have someone as well. I name Rasta DjMambo. You safely introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Tarisai Nyamuranga.
Nice. Tarisai Nyamuranga. And we have to my near left.
Hi everyone, I'm Bridget Wazana.
That's Miss Bri, who never knows Ziva. Then I watch Baba Ichimu, which is Ziva Ichimu, Chibaba Ichimu. Ivan, you can introduce yourself out there.
Hi guys, Ivan Wachu.
Ivan Wachu. So that's Ivan Wachu. As you can see, last time we had him on the podcast. And today, guys, we have a different issue, which we are talking about sexual harassment, intimate partner violence, and also revenge pornography. Now let's get flexible, guys. Ma streets murukubuda ma porn ma revenge porn. I remember revenge porn rema sex tape but what is sexual harassment? I'll start with Ivan. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment.
Okay, so sexual harassment is when an individual intentionally invades somebody else's sexual privacy. It becomes sexual harassment. Sega mambo ukatungu invade privacy ya mystery to sexual harassment. Iye akatungu zvifila kuti mambo kana paanenge aona zvasurufana kuona kana kuti abata zvasurufana kubata ya to sexual harassment.
So zvekuti mystery kana vari muhostel vachichinja indobva ndabuda nezikamera rangu zihombe rere ndichishita mafoto ndobva ndamuona ndamuti snap.
But on the other hand, we can say sexual harassment as well is something that makes me feel uncomfortable as a human being, besides as a female or as a male, but simply as a human being. And if I don't feel comfortable with the way you are looking at me, pane varume vanotarisa vanhu, even vakadzi vanotarisa kunge ari kuona nyama kana kunge ari kuona chikafu zviri seriously, it happens in my workplaces, it happens in lecture rooms, it happens even tichifamba nemawindi, it happens everywhere. We are comfortable almost every time. And it happens even kuvakomana zvikwane vasikana vakuti hanzi garbage in, garbage out.
What's that?
Like traditionally men are perpetrators as sexual harassment, right? But now women are saying, yes, the law is too slow. So, takutora the law into our own hands. In what you can do, I can also do as well. Uchifamba, I can actually comment you sexually. I can make you feel very uncomfortable. So, sexual harassment, besides it's being done to a male or it's being done to a woman. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment. Harassment is harassment.
Definitely, man, definitely. And yes, don't forget, guys, we are still in the 16 days against gender-based violence. We are saying no to gender-based violence. In our schools, in our communities, wherever, in workplaces, let's say no to gender-based violence. Now, I'm going to start now. Revenge porn. Let's look at revenge porn.
Revenge porn. Well, I think it's something that a lot of people they don't take into consideration in terms of like social media, because when you're saying that you go to eyes pa Twitter, pa Instagram, my picture no circulator. But then revenge porn for me is when you like share something like intimate with your partner. Most of the times this is something that happens between my partners, or even maybe my link ups, because when my link up. But then and you may go put tutorial video a picture and link up and then maramba na munakuchi I want to revenge in this way. I'm going to expose you. I'm going to do this. And as much as we would like to incorporate the idea, also men go through these things. People that are biased against such things are mostly women. We find these people are using these images as a form of like degrading Zitara Toshiba in the industry. In the next 10 years, the only thing you'll be known about is either you I'm scanning sex tape, I'm scanning my news by Instagram or news by Twitter. And I just feel like it's a very toxic cycle, and I feel like it's actually a criminal offense. And at the end of the day, I think each other that Sungwa, you deserve to go to jail. Even Ugati, and in the heat of what? Your intention was to harm this person's reputation. Defame them and make them seem unworthy in society.
So we shall come back to the issue Makori MJ after revenge porn. Date review. To Wendy, I want to go on intimate partner violence, whereby you have but there's some intimate, violence in between relationship menu. How do you take it?
As in Kuti, inine I have my guy, and then we are having our issues. Like Kuti,
Murimu relationship mess. How do you see it? Why is it that we are facing more, cases of intimate partner violence, whereby the ladies or the gents, they don't report my issues or my cases? For example, ndikaona phone mako mine number dzomwe munhu anditi anenge ari kana mchati mako wauri kutaura naye etc, then ndakutokufungira kuti pane zvikuitika, ndakutotanga kukunetsa or kukushungurudza iwewe.
So you mean how do we deal with it? Like chinogona kuitika ndechekuitika isusu tinogona inini personally, because I love my guy, ndinogona kusakwanisa kuudza other people kuti I'm facing this problem, ndikumuda, and then ndikuti aiwa zvichapera zvinhu zvakadaro. I won't report anything, even akandirova, even akaita anything, because I love the person, and then nditori blinded nekuda kwekuti
nengorichi love is blind. Blinded.
Blinded because but then realize later maybe relationship or someone akuinlaita kuti zvikuita mukomana wako, maybe pane someone azitowitnessa the incident and then overtell kuti zvikuita mukomana wako zvinhu zvazvisi kunyatsokuita, you're not yet married, and then now makutonetsana. What more when you're married? It lead to domestic violence.
That's true, man. That's true. Now, Ivan, you were talking of sexual harassment. What form? How does it manifest? Sexual harassment, patingetiri in our places and everywhere. Bridget talked about kuridzirwa miridzo. Mwana chifura kana kuti icho chakabata naicho chimwana icho bata. What is this? It's a fact, because some of these things, because of the hype inenge chitika, we let it pass through. But kune vamwe vanhu zvinogumisira zvakuita lead into body shaming and zogumasani depression mukati. Imagine uchikomenda munhu kana kuti ainge ari mudhafa ichi chimunhu chakangoumbwa ichi ungozara chete. You are not appreciating money. We use that language every day, but we don't see the effect that it has on people.
So, and I think sexual harassment, even kutarisa, right? Kutarisa, even the way you look at somebody, and pane kutarisa kokote unonyatsoona pane ava munhu haasisiri kungotarisa atone intention and then there's also my comments like you said pane zvatinototaura mastreets apa panoda shotri ipapo bata ipapo macomments akaita sewayo kanoti akakapeta akakachigubhu keCoca-Cola right? Exactly. My comments can easily cause somebody to be really uncomfortable in a different way. And then when it comes to self-esteem now, in a different way because of your comment, and then they all of a sudden now we have all these mental health issues and disorders because of you. So yes, sexual harassment. And then to shika pakubata cheko. If you hug a girl in a way surukuda.
But because nyatsa kupfanya chichi azviko.
It's sexual harassment. If you hug her, asingade futhi kwagwa. It is sexual harassment. And then patorno sexual harassment yekuti of course awuya kurungu kwako and then makutanga makutanga kutaura nyaya and stuff iwo wakutoona kunge ane intention yekurara newe and then nyangwe akakudza kuti stop after watomboita
yato harassment definitely man. In case you just joined us, yes indeed, welcome to the podcast with DjMambo the King and ndakachila na Tarisai and ndina Wendy, we have Bridget, and I also have Ivan Wacho on this podcast, proudly brought to you by the University of Zimbabwe Admin and Unesco's O3+, our rights, our lives, our future. And as you know, 16 days of activism do partirizes do nyadzi kupisa ma streets tudakudzoka chinobata echibaba chiri kupisa pa Zimbabwe pese nyaya iyo muri kuiziva mukoma nezimtanzo tuda kunoibata futi nyaya. But I just want to take you through some, you know, some of the ways that, you know, GBV and sexual harassment manifest, and how the certain things that, you know, we do it passively, but also those I think it's to violate my rights. For example, you know, there's actual or attempted rape or sexual assault, unwanted pressure for sexual favors, unwanted deliberate touching, leaning over, cornering or pinching. For example, ndozeto vanhu vakazojaira maizvezvo kuti nongosvika pane chibebi ngoti ndikazotobata izvezvi pakamera munotanga kuti vatotanga sexual harassment. However, for purposes of for example, vana Bridget nechingoti wadiko chimungo changu utaseko wangu iyo uchingomubata but imi makajaira kuti kugaina mahafu kugaina munhu mahafu, but kune vasikana it's uncomfortable. But I want to understand, as girls, why is it that you as girls you don't report? Ntanga na Wind.
Okay. Inini personally, do not depend on my relations and in our own. One. Two, these days reporting an issue sometimes I'm solving. It doesn't get solved. Like Moon, personally, warning report. Let's say that report I put DjMambo. DjMambo and my links and then he's gonna go away with it. Inini didn't just start and go to ndakadanzo but then yangu inakusolve yangu guma iri. So zvinonesa kuti ndoda kuripota ndopepe kuti munhu unenge wakuzvigadzirisa wega in your own ways kuti I need this guy either ndotomuignore kana kuti ndikamuona I just distance myself from that person because akuripota mazano inangu to me doesn't make sense anymore.
Now let's talk about date rape. I want to go to Tarisai. Date rape, muri kudanana nemukomana wako. How then does rape come? Vanhu muchidanana, you are having a relationship. How then can we say one rape a more relationship?
It can be a consent coerced by alcohol, drugs, you should be in your sober mind, in your sober senses. You shouldn't be half asleep, cannot be you should be sober, awake. And people run away from that whole idea of consent in relationships because no, munhu ndewa mwari
hakuna munhu wemunhu
munhu ndewa mwari saka you can't be saying kuti munhu wangu saka ndoita zvandoda naye. That just removes the whole idea of consent because now you're dominating your power or you're exemplifying your strength over a person and that's rape. ukatouya wakanditi but paya in the previous day wawabvuma wani nasi uri kuti ndakakurepa ndisei. I'll be like, because I didn't want. I said no, you didn't understand me saying no. I said nasi maybe you did and you forced yourself on me and I then told you no, I don't want. No is a no, it doesn't change. Maybe asikuda siyana inazvo.
But I have a question. What if it's the guy who's saying no? You're some kind of uchida.
I feel like it's not even.
But as girls, do we like listen to that? No?
Yeah, that's a question I wanted to ask. As girls, do you listen? But tunetika foot. Boys, kashoma. Kuti urambe because of the societal, you know, norms and values that have been set already. Kuti pena ikasetwa apa, you have to take it as a man. You have to take it. Social pressure. But vasikana nenga show pressure. Zvafanizvi. Urikuona izvezvi bhebhi rangu rikandifonera rikatoti rikuda izvezvi kuda sport izvezvi kuti ndimuudze kuti ndisikuda chichika zvezva kutonzi ndiri kumakisa zvezvi chitonzi ndiri kumakisa, and that's a fact. Now I want to come to the issue of revenge porn. Now number one, girls, chinomboitirwei zvekutora mavidhiyo?
Okay, then to answer pattern.
Vasikana veteens. I'm just joking, man. That's stereotyping.
Okay. Yeah. Chinoitika panyaya yandichekutika. Munhu kana ane mukomana wako. Unenge uchimuda. And sometimes pane that stage yekuti you're in a relationship and you're willing to do anything for your partner.
Yeah.
and then that person asks ndokumbirawo and then at some point unotombofunga wega kuti aiwa no azviite chichena wonyengererwa kunzi aiwa chichi chikanti iye anobva asenda yake kuti iwe uchise
usendewo
ndikuona. That's when you ungoti he's my boyfriend, trust and then you just send. But then right now in Nanguga, I advise you when sending face out and then send maybe the body makes sense.
Because that's true.
Okuchosiyana nazvo wochongoti tozoonana hedu in person but wakomana munzwisise.
But what happens is girls, we are naive. Tenwa nemawords and but at the same time we should show kuti we are educated, but also boys are manipulative in a way that mangpochano makarara maita yo link up ya wambotaura ya then marara person takes pictures of you wakarara waenda kuroom akuti uya kuroom kwangu kana kumanfred akaisa makamera ake kudhara you don't know that and isiri ndatomboti manoziva kuti maybe Bridget is uptight or Bridget is what obviously abvuma kuti sendera picture but anoziva kuti if she sleeps ndokwanisa kumutora picture or if ndikaisa ma-hidden cameras I can take a video and a picture and ndo ma-instances mazhinji
kana pamupacho anotora oenda kurecycle bin onyepera kuti adelita iye kurecycle bin motora mutori mese ochongoti ngatori tonoti picture
wakambotorwa here
because I'm
I'll explain now.
Issue yakabhuitika. So moga mangotora mutori mese muri kutowirirana and then uvati delete muno delete but then kune recycle bin muno waienda wozona munhu account yako kusendera akuti hona shosha musiko kuti ingata delete one
I would advise people to like stay away from their phones when they are in those positions.
True, man.
Even inini personal even ndichibonogeza ndinozora mafuta ndotsvaga kuti foni yangu iri kupi ndoisa I don't know because of this cyberbullying thing ndakutotya as much as social media inotibatsira pazvimwe zvinhu now there is inonzi cyber domestic violence where people are abusing each other. My partner anenge achindi abuser through social media. What's that? Ndachitora newe certain conversation tine certain chat wakuri publisher wakana ndakusendera voice notes wakuri senda pa usage steps because ukuda cloud ukuda kupisa ukuda kurira
urakunzi wakadzi hysteric. That's true, man. And it takes me back to revenge porn. To those who don't understand what revenge porn is, it's a type of digital abuse in which nude or sexually explicit photos or videos are shared without the consent of those pictured, also called non-consensual pornography. It's closely related to sexual abuse. A current or previous partner may share such images as a revenge or threaten to distribute them as a type of blackmail. And you may have sent these private images to a partner, and a partner may have convinced you to take explicit pictures, possibly in an effort to control or shame you. Leon's revenge porn, which now takes me to Ivan nyaya yake yanga achitaura yanga achida kuti titaure yemastreets ari kupisa muZimbabwe izvezvizvi. Ivan.
Okay, firstly, revenge porn is a crime. Antika. Ukatongo share an unconsented picture or an unconsented video, it's a crime. Because until you know, manji pakabva uboda Data Protection Act, right? That Data Protection Act, kana iwewe usiriwe muridzi wepicture, don't share it. Whether it's nude, harizi nude, waritora uchifarisa, maritora pachi, kana pasina consent from the people varipo pa picture, don't share it. And saka mastreets pane zvakabva kuitika mamanje zvekuti vanhu we assume as the world because atikunyatsoziva zvachiitika kuti vari kudanana and they take videos and then they then
levels nashashiwa
vazorambana anditi and then obuda online and then mumwe otanga kuti hey aiwa inyaya kuti akalikiswa nesomeone akandibira phone and stuff like that anditi but zvambotorerwei without consent anditi because from the looks of it musikana anga kuti zvinhu zvandizviziva kuti ndaitorwa video but vasikana futi vane problem sometimes because not to blame the victim but sometimes unotonyatsoona kuti munhu akonsenda but because hapana evidence at the end of the day akuti ndanga ndisina consent tisatonyorana basi ramenodos
consent form
issue inenge yakuitika ndeyekuti if such videos or if such things zvikadika handitika society is gonna blame the girl. All the disadvantages that comes with it. I mean, do you think in a nude picture of myself, even pakangobuda nipple, do you think any guy would want to be with me or can attend to any intentions? Because there's already a stereotype in people. People have been asking, people have been asking why this activism 16 days of gender-based violence is called stopping the activism against gender-based violence towards women and girls. They were like, so we're standing up for them now. But the question is, iwe pongoshtar Ivan as a male, we're looking at not my victims. 90% of the victims are females. Nekuti iwe even papa pandikatanga kukuhaga uchitosadaro chichichichi andika vanhu vanoona kuti mufesa akapusa maybe I was kuda sure but inini ndikaonekwa izvozvo uchindihaga ndichitosadaro mambo anoyozozoconfess ukuite andika because women are vulnerable and the blame is always on the female even pakanzikana kuti murume nemukadzi varambana mukadzi vinoti ndandichirohana chitongochirowerwe wangosirugona uchengetedza musha wako. The blame is always on the victim. It's always, and the victim is always the female person.
But then I have a question. Why is it like manuds emukomana akabuda hazvinyanyi kutrenda zvekutoti hanzi zvinotonzi zvakanyanyisa still?
That's the first thing Sebastian Magacho akabuda ngakutonzi vakuru vebhosvo akatowana popularity
but kana ari musikana manje unotaura in a very bad way sezvakutotaura uyu kuti musikana mva tochangotonzi musikana uyu hatomboiti.
So I think it stems out from our cultural background and traditions whereby the female body and it had to be respected. But because of also my factors are one, it's not only one factor. Also because of say globalization. Because when I see big things through the internet, we want to go international. Maybe no level international actually took us to the selfie wakabata kana nipo rako kudai. So to an extent whereby society we end up not longer taking value in the female body. Tangoti aiwa hapana ukatona raiswa pa internet kudai so kuti aiwa mawani chichaka ipa, but we are no longer taking it culturally to say mukadzi kudhara ukanzwa mubata zamu unoripa munhu watonzwa iripa munhu. But izvezvi mukapinda mubhawa vanhu vakarohwa neshisha so vanhu vanenge kutonga mheni unge vachadyikanana pamberi pemacameras. You see.
Also, Tari, maybe you can help. There's the issue of feminism. I don't know tisu vakadzi kuitwara pasiri kwere. But inina made government nude photo shoots.
Yeah.
Then the post and I'm a feminist, I own my own body. Is that okay? I'm not shaming anyone who does it, but I'm just asking kuti. Then after that, will people actually stand up for me kuti? I don't know.
Then.
But I'm a feminist, I own my own body. Yes, as a woman you should own your body.
Yeah.
But are we not misinterpreting the whole feminism aspect?
I think it's a double-edged sword. Because as much as people want to perpetuate the freedom and the idea of no, I can do whatever I want with my body. I can post my half-naked pictures. With every action, there's a victim to every action you do. Indakatora picture rangu ndiri naked ndiri pamurume angu ndoposta paInstagram. The person who's going to see that is not a person who's going to be beside me. That person is not going to be able to have access to fetishize me. Saka is going to fetishize whoever is going to see next. And that person is going to become the victim of whatever crime they're going to commit. So I think when it comes to the whole feminist movement, yes, it's your body, but then let's try and consider that as much as we want to be feminist, we're also feminist in a collective society. In a society whereby there are children, there are women that are conservatives, there are more that are out there, open, but then let our actions as feminists or our decisions as feminists not then lead to the degradation of other women. Because if we do that, the world is not safe. The world isn't heaven, At Skurarama, heaven on earth, Panam.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are creeps out there. There are people who are willing to do whatever they want. I know to a picture atonzwa zvaanzwa oenda unobata kamwana kadiki. And people never consider that. They're just like, I'm just posting on social media because I can. But then have you ever thought of the effects of what you're posting? We know there's rape. Rape is done by men, and we always like hold men accountable. But then sometimes there's also the issue of how porn perpetuates the fetishization and the abuse towards women, because men no longer value the essence. Women used to be valued. Value. Now people are just like, you know what, I see this every day on the internet. So you could fine, they can post a picture because I think the effects of that are either going to affect you negatively or they're going to affect someone else the same way.
True. Now, talking about that, man, I want to come before there's two more points that I want to talk about sexual harassment, right? And this whole sexuality thing in association with what we wear, what women actually wear. Can we actually say that because she is dressed in a mini or akapfeka see-through now ndakuonera masini kuti awo, does that give somebody the right to violate someone?
No, it doesn't. I'll just link it to what I was saying. As much as we're like, hey, munhu wacho ane kaunhu keujoki, unhu wake ujoka hausi wako. Exactly. Hausi wako.
You don't know. Just because indakapfeka bharu rangu rakabharuka kusvika apapo. It's your problem. Ukandiona kunge ndisina kupfeka. Kana vanhu vanoona vana vadiki kunge mukadzi. Are psychologically unstable, that person. There should never be any justification
for that.
Exactly.
Ivan, you want to say something?
Okay, I wanted to say kuti shandapfeka ndizvangu ndapfekera inini handiti iwe zvawakuona ndiurikuona handiti deal with it. And but in as much as we want to be that empowered, and there are consequences that come with it, like Teresa was saying, and every right has a responsibility, and you have a right to dress whichever you want, whichever way you want, but you also have a responsibility of not showing your indecency and
public true.
And saka ukatsa consider that responsibility now ndopono zoona kuti vana vari at a very young age they are being exposed to indecent pictures, they are being exposed to pornography online, and then mwana iye azokura makumuti ane psychological issues because akubehave in a certain way. But it's because you programmed them to think that way, and makamuratidza porn kubva achiri ameno kana grade 3 and so
there's this, it reminds me then, before you come in, it reminds me of this picture, and I go on, it was a nude picture of a mother who was pregnant. Paine tu anatoka pfeka boxing gloves, tukanyora kuti round 3, paine 2 twatwiripo anatoka zvaro kutara, then paita mukadzi achange nenhumbu nemurume wacho akamira, then tu anatoka bata atatoka pfeka boxing gloves tuchitaura pregnancy namoms kuti round 3. Imagine zvinhu zvakadaro. When you look at it, it has sexual connotations in it, and you're feeding our kids that same information. Wanokura, where do you think they'll be?
Now maybe we have to look at where we come from. Look at your background, look at the environment, contributor. Look at society. Maybe to other people it's acceptable. Maybe to other families it's acceptable. To other societies it is. But to some it's not. Inapana panchaenda kugeto kwedu ndonoita that photo shoot. Or ndofamba ndakapfeka in a certain. There are many instances that tinonzwa kuti pane musikana abharuwa skate. Look at where you are. Also there's an outfit for every event. Maybe we will be protecting ourselves as well as girls. But then never come and psychopaths when they see a pretty girl or when they see a curvy girl, they need to make sure that I want attention in any way possible, which is very wrong. I remember personally I experienced this last week. There was this day partying up. There's this windy akadonza mabraids angu ndandachiuka zvikanzwa karuka zvakanaka ndikati okay thanks apinda mukombe mandandiri agara ndaijisa airtime zvikanzi okajusa yangu ndikati please I don't want to talk to you zvikanzi hey uneiko iwewe sesidotora nene then kwapaita mumwe wacho akauya ndandikagara pamberi zvikanzi havasikana sakanaka havasi kuita sei havasi kubhadhara zvikanzi atiwe akanaka ndiani ari kutobhadhara manje zvikanzi manje haasi zvikanzi ngati ari kutobhadhara angatobuda imwe anei hei ati hasi dotaura neni chichichi then mukomana akagara pasi neni zvikanzi watanga kuharasa musikana yachiri kupinda but akuudza nicely kuti haasi kuda kutaura neni. You see patongori nevanhu vatongori nemaissues avo ekuti they want attention of girls vanoda attention iyo no matter what.
Plus vamwe vakomana havadi kutuka.
Wakuita sei?
Kumuudza chinhu kana
Boys zanzi hamusi kubvuma kutuka boys.
Kana kumupindura kana kungomuudza akutoita hufadha kuda kutononga ari kuda kuti zviita munhu mukuru like baba vako chaiwo because like sezvaataura uyu kuti akatanga kunzi he kunaka here chichi zvapindura papi iye akubata mabraids ako then iwe hausi kuda munhu akutaura zvekunaka what for. Pane zvimwe zvinhu zvisiri necessary.
Definitely, man. Yeah, to those who've just joined us, man, munenge matinonoki guys, because we've been rolling for like 30 minutes right now, and we're about to round up and wind up this show, the podcast we were having. Like I said earlier on, I have Wendy, I have Tari, DjMambo, Bridget, and Ivan Wacho. And shout out to the guys behind the camera, Mwana Royal as usual. This show are proudly brought to you by the University of Zimbabwe Admin in collaboration with the Unesco's All 3+, our rights, our lives, our future. And before we close off, we have to go to the law. Tari, we have to go to the law now. What does the law say about, sending images? Well, we know the president gazetted the new bill, which was passed into the law, because it's now an act, Data Protection Act, issues, and it criminalizes some of these things that we are talking about. Story level 10, level what penalties, a mistake chat. So some of these things, man, I just want to read out some of them to you. Then Tari ovapinda because ndo vari kuita mutemo vari kunyatsa kuzvikwenenzvera. So the new act ndo vari kuita zvemutemo. So the new act criminalizes offenses such as transmission of data messages, inciting violence or damage to property, sending threatening data messages, hacking, cyberbullying, and posting of sexually explicit content without the consent of the data subject. Furthermore, it will penalize the production and dissemination of racist and xenophobic materials, child sexual abuse materials, and child pornographies. So imagine transmission of intimate images and it without consent. Number one, any person who unlawfully and unintentionally by means of a computer or information systems makes available, broadcasts, or distributes a data message containing any intimate image or video of an identifiable person without the consent of the person concerned, or with recklessness as to the lack of consent of the person concerned, with the aim of causing, number one, the humiliation or embarrassment of such person, shall be guilty of an offense and liable to a fine not exceeding level 10, or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years, or to both such fine and such imprisonment. It means good. It's not only about the person who's taking the picture. It also means to WhatsApp group rasendirwa masini. Everyone in WhatsApp group who's going to disseminate and share publicly. I like, a retweet, aita zvese, a comment section, aka share and perpetuate that same thing. You are liable to a fine or imprisonment. Now, coming to issue a fine and imprisonment now. It is being said out there kuti my life sentences in prison about those who harass people sexually. Now I want to hear, as we wind up, you guys, your views. Is after date rape and it after sending a revenge porn, sexual harassment, what's your take on the life sentence? Kunzi white commit a crimes, we are giving you life sentence. I will start with Wendy. Okay. Life sentence yemuno. Do you think it's a justifiable or justified punishment for someone? Life in prison.
Personally, ndinoti zvona munhu zvinodhipenda nekuti munhu anopfidza here kana kuti atova nini. Kana ari munhu atova, do you know kuti vamwe vanhu vakapinda muprison vanhu vave kuti vanoti inini ndapinda muprison zvangofanira noti iwe warohwa nemunhu uneka kutoita nini ka unoita ubva wati nini wana watonipinza kana 5 years prison kaunta unotomborara naye but wangobata and then ubva wapinzwa prison wakuti ini ndahangobata but anorara naye ndichabuda chiri mjeri da utonomuripa wakuenda futi kunoita the next thing wabuda. So maybe life sentence inogona to make a sense.
That's her opinion. Tari, what do you think?
I think life sentence, yeah. Okay, life sentence inoita, but then you should also look at the gravity of the circumstances and of the situation. Pamwe munhu wekutotoona kuti munhu uyu sezvazvitaura nawe ndizvenini kuti this person is not remorseful.
It's a multiple offender.
Exactly, it's a multiple offender. This person constantly does these things. Even if it's a first-time offender, you can see by the way they did the things they did, but you know munhu is likely to do this thing again. Because it was amwane kutongo tunotoona kuti munhu uyu anenge zvekumusha zvamusvikira aroda kutongokanganisa life yake. And I think that should be put into consideration when creating punishments or when sentencing someone, because the idea of sending someone to prison isn't to fully punish but to rehabilitate. So at the moment you're like, okay, fine, atumira nude picture maybe mu group, maybe mwanani 18 atumira nude picture mkushamwari yake achingoti neka excitement kema 18-year-olds, then mova mati aiwa mwana uyu arifofana kutosungwa takutomuendesa life in prison, you know. Things like that, to some extent, they don't make sense. But then it doesn't mean that that person does not deserve to know kuti zvaita zviri wrong. The person has to be guided and be told kuti no, apa wakanganisa. But then going to the extremes, to the intensity now, either you're going to create a rehabilitated person or you're going to create a hardened criminal.
That's true.
And what we're trying to do is to rehabilitate
people,
not to endorse and to improve my skills. Because akaenda mujera chatonoudzwa nomoti wakangotora mapisha ndaidai uvati oenda kunongoti manje ndaidai. So at the end of the day, the person is not getting the rehabilitation they need. But then if all goes well, because I'm a woman and it comes from a place of like saying but it's okay in life, imprisonment. You find me from a point of view of a woman yemkadzi anenge azviitirwa ndine nditoti munhu ngaende kujere for life, because my reputation will be tarnished for life. It's not going to change in the next 5 years because vanhu vachangoremember kuti tari wemachichi tari wechi.
Yeah, and I think also they should, before sentencing a person, as Tara was saying, they should maybe ask the person for counseling. Could you evaluate because this person is psychopath? Because the memunu, I should talk about a multiple offender, as you are saying. Memunu actually remorseful. I got to read to satisfy something in him. And then I've ruined this person's life, or some even go to the extent of creating my fake accounts. Or it's a face young, they're not going to post my nude pictures, and then send Rami between a relationship, right? But I'm going to create a cheat tower to see those extents life imprisonment. I agree.
Bridget is saying she agrees with that. Ivy.
And I think hopefully as so we take them back to bite me. What I think is take better my examples at every 1 or 2 years. Poor my examples. Whenza tichikura ka paingonzi pajenga. Ukaita msikanzo ngosingaroyi every day. But wekopoa my examples ka 1 kana pamwedzi. Waita order. Tikamboita 1 or 2 people vanombonzi. And then after 2 years tombonzi vamwe 1 or 2. Zvinhu zvinofamba zvakanaka.
Mr. President, vari kupisa mukuzvinzwa.
Life imprisonment yaka. Munhu according to zvanenge achiita achienda for counseling ari muprison imomo achitasisa they should evaluate him as he goes or as she goes. Vona kuti is this person remorseful, is he regretting or is she regretting zvakaitika, then also evaluate kuti chi vamuburitsa here hanzi inonzi good behavior.
I think there should be adoption of that whole sex offenders list. Nekuti vanotopublisha munewspaper kuti ningi naningi ma-sex offender ndezvi zvanoita, because at the end of the day iwewe you are doing this to hurt someone else. The law must do something to give the same vibe as you're giving.
But sometimes we should consider the law sometimes it's slow. As much as the law is very slow. So sometimes it comes back to us, society, it comes back to the communities. But we should be each other's keepers. Protect the next person, protect the next boy, protect the next girl. We should be each other's protectors.
That's true.
Ukaona pane vakomana vaitika namusikana akaspoila votangomuseka wese tinoti mwakatsurwa iregret asi vazhinji vaisaregreta ndo iva vatepi
Guys, so yes, man, these are some of the contributions that are coming through. We don't know, what do you think about it? What do you think about revenge porn, sexual harassment, and intimate partner violence, which includes date rape? Comment section. We want to see what are your views, guys, wherever you are. You might be in Zimbabwe, might be out of Zimbabwe. We want to hear of your views as well. As we know, we are living in a global world, and our laws are different, our cultures are different. But as from us here from the University of Zimbabwe, that's where we are. The panel that's here, that's what we are thinking. These are our views. It's not law, it's just our views, what we are thinking. In personally, what I think about life sentence, guys, life sentence, I think it's too much for a person, an anger offender. What I think is, because we have what is Zimbabwe prisons and correctional services, like she was saying, that people have to be rehabilitated afterwards, and they have to evaluate the person and see, was it a mental issue or akazita, in which state you need, so that if you say, okay, we're giving you 5 years in jail, then put them in 5 years in prison, take them through rehabilitation, give them counselors, people who come and assess those people. Then at the same time, they do their punishment so that by the time Buddha is a rehabilitated person now.
Or if they manipulate the law. Some people are manipulators. They will make you believe that now they're a good person. They know Buddha. Or it a much worse thing.
Those ones, man, obviously, it's now up to the law. Ministers of Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, and our president also. But guys, from us, it's been a nice discussion, that we've had. I'm sure you've heard some of the views, because we wanted this to have a majority vote yevaskana. So mangozo not majority yevaskana, and wakoma nating glory to panam. So apana pamunga and is really gender biased.
Because as much as Chaka Wanda was we also advocating for the boy child, because we also have brothers as well, but Vanufana can look after.
True.
They come from my background.
But society knows that
we don't live in university.
We also need men to be there, learning, and
we need to be each other's. Be it harassment, harassment is still harassment. Don't harass each other. Kana uyinda mbata data ndishinde Bridget. Ngandimusiye.
Because nombata akagwina akapisa hoyo.
Ndichiri kwa school chainzichi tanziva takatomboita this meeting tikanzonzova ministime kuti mukomana vangu vacho anokuhaga oita ofilongo wapo wakotsvota otongoti esikani uchizvi chainzi same car inonzi mukaa sei space iye hanzvadzi yako raiti dai zvapera nekuti ukaramba uchimurabharabha ane mafeelings mukomana asvike kumba musikana anosvika.
Guys, but it's been a nice discussion, and thank you guys for coming and joining us for this special edition of the podcast, man, proudly brought to you by the University of Zimbabwe and UNESCO. All 3+ our rights, our lives, our future. Wherever you are, we love you so much, guys. Keep on subscribing, keep on commenting, keep on sharing. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for coming. I'm sure you guys have learned a thing or two, not two, two. DjMambo the King, as born. We out.